Welcome back, everybody. We are keeping it moving here, and we are speaking of World Social Work Day, which was commemorated yesterday, the 16th of March. It is actually commemorated on the third Tuesday of March each year. And joining me this morning, it's Farisha Mohammed, who is a family social worker with the National Family Services Division of the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services. Good morning and welcome.
Pleasant. Good morning to you. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
So, World Social Work Day was commemorated yesterday, and we'll get into how the ministry observes it. But before that, let's dispel some of the myths around the industry and the field itself. You know, some people, when they hear social work, they think about charity and they think about counseling and these things like that. But what exactly is social work?
So social work is a field that we study. It's under the social sciences field. And what it basically entails, it's meeting the psychosocial needs of persons, psychosocial needs as well as treating with the social issues that affect persons in the population. And those social issues would be some things like domestic violence, child abuse, elderly abuse, and the list goes on within that sphere of where we are headed with any social issue that may be affecting society.
Tell us about the importance of social work in any society and the ministry's stance on social work and how they approach it.
So the importance of social work is basically that when we treat with issues and not just leave them unnoticed or anything like that, what it does is that it strengthens individuals. It gives them the ability to build resilience, show empowerment, and that is something that it's taken for granted many times because we may go through traumatic experiences and we brush it under the carpet, and it's not taken serious. It's not taken in a serious light. And I could give one example, such as mental health issues.
Right.
We take that as a norm in Trinidad and Tobago. That's just somebody who's mad and or they're playing mad or something like that. And one of the areas specifically in that field is postpartum depression, where people don't take the seriousness of postpartum depression. So not treating with it, it leads into severe mental health illness and so forth. So that's just something that goes by. We could talk about domestic violence if it's untreated. Children who are secondary victims of domestic violence, the cycle, it repeats itself where the child may become an abuser or they accept abuse when they become an adult themselves. So having intervention through social work and through the different areas where it will include counseling, it will include self-development, understanding who you are, understanding self-worth and all of those things. It helps in future where society on a whole benefits from it because we treat with issues that aren't normally treated.
And we, as you mentioned, the domestic violence and the way in which it can escalate and the level it can get to. We just think about that heartbreaking case from San Fernando just the other day,
yes,
where the children had to witness that tragedy. And who knows what the future would hold for them now, considering the current circumstances. So in this time now, are there free services that the ministry offers to individuals who may need the help of a social worker, may need counseling, may need guidance of some sort?
Yes, under the National Family Services Division, we are equipped with trained staff who are available to the general public Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Office hours. So we are available. All services are free of charge, and anybody from the general public can access the services via walk-ins. They can call our ministry's hotline. The number is 623-2608, and the services will be provided to them. The good thing is that we have offices throughout Trinidad and Tobago, so that way, if you live in Point Fortin, you don't have to come to San Fernando, or you don't have to go to Port of Spain to access those services.
Yeah, which would make sense, of course. And now in the midst of the pandemic, a little over 1 year in, has the way in which services are rendered changed or adjusted in any way?
It has to some point. Initially, we were not doing face-to-face counseling. We were not doing interaction with the general public, which was understandable. One of the things that we are is that social workers are frontline workers as well. So we weren't taken away from doing our duties.
Right.
What we did, we adjusted somewhat where we would have conducted interviews over the telephone instead of having the persons come in. And as the pandemic, well, not the pandemic, but as the cases began to decrease in Trinidad and Tobago, we opened back up to the general public, right, where we could have face-to-face contact, because it's easier to relate to your clients when the face-to-face is there, because they feel a sense of comfort being in the presence of the officer rather than over the telephone.
As you mentioned, the officer, in cases where, what is the ministry's stance, the Family Services Division's stance, when it comes to, let's say for instance, let's go back to the topic of domestic violence. Say for instance, someone sought counseling because they're in a situation where they are experiencing domestic violence. Is it the ministry's stance to escalate that to making the police aware of the situation and such, or is it are they a little more hands-off when it comes to that?
So it depends on the situation that encounters. So domestic violence, it ranges in lots of different areas, where it could be physical abuse, emotional abuse. So it depends on what we are faced with.
Let's say specifically physical.
Physical. So yes, a report must be made to the police station. So as social workers, that type of intervention, it is given where we would assist the clients, because one of the things that is important to understand is that a lot of times persons who experience domestic violence, they feel powerless.
Right.
So we are there to let them know that you have a voice, your voice is worth listening to. So we walk them through these steps where we would take them to the police station, have the police report made. In some instances, if you have a good rapport with the police service, the police may even come to the office, right, and take the report there. We also have where we would do placement into safe houses for the parent, in this case females, because we only have services for females, right, at this time in Trinidad and Tobago. And we take them together with the children and we place them into safety until further can be done. The ministry also has services where, in order to transition out of the safe houses to society, we assist with rental assistance. We could provide the food support and those things according to the need of that client.
This is very eye-opening, because I had no idea that these services existed to this degree, yeah, and people can actually go out there and get that type of help and assistance and really change things around.
Yes.
How do people get more information about the Family Services Division and the Ministry of Social Development and such?
So we have a website. So the website is available, and you could go on there and you would get all the information for every division that is within the Ministry of Social Development, specifically the National Family Services Division. You can call 623-2608, extension 6701 to 67010. No, 6710.
6710,
sorry.
Right, 10.
Yes, 6710, right, and you will be able to get that information.
All right, wonderful. I want to thank you so much for your time this morning, Faricia, for joining us this morning and giving us this information, and some of which I am learning this morning, and I hope somebody out there watching as well would have learned something too, because who knows, it might just save a life. All right,
Definitely.
So I want to thank you so much one more time.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we're at the top of the hour here. We're going to go up to the top for the news. And remember, you can reach out to the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services. They have a website as well, www.social.gov.tt, and you can get more information as well. We are now at the top for the news.